Good morning, my fabulous yoga students. I'm so grateful again to be with you today, this morning. And today's practice is going to be a gentle flow. I would recommend, if you have a block, you don't need a block, you could always use a book or a pillow, and also a yoga strap. But again, if that's not accessible, then you can use a belt. Or a towel even, so that you can use that if you find that helpful. I've been playing around with lighting. Again, I'm very new to this. My daughter-in-law, Danny, is a brilliant photographer, and she suggested I try this angle with my front door. So again, I'm doing the best I can so you can see me. So again, I'm very grateful to be with you this morning, and I would invite you to take a comfortable seat, whatever that may be for you. Perhaps sitting on the forward edge of a cushion or a blanket. And just arriving in your yoga practice this morning. We all arrive in different ways. Some of us fidget around, move around so we can find that perfect place to sit. You might like to close your eyes or simply take a soft gaze to the earth. And just notice the sounds that are around you. Notice the parts of your body that are connected and supported by the earth beneath you. And as you connect the base of your spine and your sits bones to the earth, invite your crown of your head to lift right up toward the sky, to help the spine to lengthen, to help that energy to move up and down the spine, perhaps a little more freely. These are stressful times for many of us, and so we hold stress in different ways. And in yoga practice, that can help to be released and really breathing into the areas of tightness and tension in the physical body. And emotionally, again, energy is blocked sometimes. It may not move as freely, and yoga practice can help us with that as well. It can help us energetically to either raise our energy level if we feel really kind of anxious a bit or very energetic, and also it can help to calm us as well. So there's a lot of magic in there. And then the thoughts in the mind, just let them float by. Just like you're at the edge of a beautiful riverbank and you just let those thoughts just go by. And begin to turn your attention to your breath as it flows in and out of your body this morning. So to facilitate that breath movement, again, as we root to rise, invite the shoulders to relax down away from the ears while we're softening into the face and throat. Draw the shoulder blades to back body to open up the heart, as well as to let the breath have more space. The breath, as you know, can be exclusively through the nose or combination of nose and mouth breath. Again, your choice. This is your time for self-care. So just find whatever works for you this morning or whenever you're practicing with us. Invite the softness into the arms and legs and hands and feet. We'll begin with our asana breath practice today by doing a seated sun breath. So inviting the palms together and the thumbs to connect to the heart in Anjali Mudra. Again, taking care of your shoulders, moving in whatever ways work for you. Inhale, reach up, perhaps gaze upward if your neck feels comfortable. And then when you're ready, you're going to exhale and draw the arms around the body and connect them back to your heart. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhaling, release. And just inviting perhaps 4 to 5 more warm-up yoga breaths. Again, you're moving at your own pace. You're finding what you need. Focus on the breath. Perhaps the inhales and exhales are of the same length, or perhaps those exhales are a little bit longer. And that will help to calm the nervous system and quiet the mind. And perhaps one more round of breath here. And when you're complete, returning hands home to heart. And then just releasing the hands to the legs or the lap, anywhere is comfortable for you. Drawing the shoulders down again away from the ears. Keep that beautiful lengthened spine as we begin to gently rock forward and back, just like we were in a rocking chair. You can make this movement as big or as little as you would like. Feeling into the back body, the front body. Keep the breath flowing. Perhaps you'd like to do this by crossing the arms in front of the body. Again, lots of choices. When you feel complete with that, come back to easy pose. Again, rooting to rise. In the beginning of our asana, we always like to offer to lengthen through the spine and keep that extension of the spine. Because the flexion or bending of the spine, again, is not as safe in a seated position unless we're really warmed up. So in the beginning warm-ups, I like to offer that lengthened spine. And now we're going to offer this gentle rock side to side. So maybe you'd like to keep the hands on the legs, or again, maybe across the heart. Just inviting movement and energy into the side body here. Again, notice how you feel. Notice what's happening in your body this morning. Keep the breath moving. Again, we never want to feel sharp pain, muscle tension, a little bit of tightness, things like that. To find those edges are normal and they're okay, but you don't want to push to sharp pain. That is not okay. You don't want to ever harm yourself. And then come back to easy pose, connecting here again, rooting to rise, and then perhaps putting this movement, maybe you'd like to rock again, forward, back, or side to side, or maybe you'd like to put all this together in a spinal stir. Kind of, I think about it as stirring a big pot. Just kind of circling around in any direction that feels good. Keep the breath flowing. Again, I'm just so happy to be with you today and sharing yoga with you. And then when you feel complete on that side, come back to easy pose again, lengthen, and then just go the other way. There you go, good. Just notice what's happening, how everything's feeling. Keep flowing with the breath. Nicely done. And then come back to easy pose once you're complete. Again, rooting to rise. Let's just take our legs out in front for a moment. Maybe tap them out, just relax a bit. You might want to bring your hands back behind you. Just give a little bit of shake to those legs. I know sitting cross-legged or whatever is always challenging for some of us. So feel free to bend one knee or have the other leg straight or both. Again, your practice, your self-care. That's the most important part of yoga, in my humble opinion, is you take care of yourself, because it has to start here. You're trying to take care of everybody else, but we need to refill the well. We need to start here, take care of ourselves, and then we can be so much more effective and helpful and loving and kind if we start here. Nice. So coming back to our comfortable seated position, just take your shoulders, roll them around any way that feels good. So again, if you start with shoulder rolls to the back, I always encourage you to move the opposite way. So if you're rolling to the back, also inviting movement to the front, or maybe you'd like a figure 8 movement where you roll to the back and kind of roll to the front. So again, see what works for you. We do tend to hold a lot of tension up here, so it can be really nice to get into this. Maybe move your head and neck around, see what's happening here. Nice. And then coming back to easy pose, taking your right fingertips or palm to the mat. Reach up with that left arm. Now again, be mindful. If you have shoulder sensitivities, you can always bring that arm closer to the body as you raise it up, or you can raise it up a bit in what we call cactus. So again, find what's best for you. Spin your palm to the right and just find that nice reach. Maybe again you'd like to rock a bit. Maybe you'd like to circle the wrist and close and open the hands. We'll be doing some sun salutations later, so opening up the hands and wrists and then the other direction. Nice job. And then come to stillness. Pause here. Maybe draw that top shoulder back a bit. Just stretch that whole left side body. Breathe. Maybe your drishti or your eye gaze focus is like up to the top hand or straight ahead or down to the right. Nice. And then we're going to bring that left hand down, raise up that right arm. Find again the gentle stretch here. Connection, again, rooting to rise. And again, maybe we circle. Other way. I don't know if you can hear the beautiful cardinal that lives right near my house, and he's always out there singing. And reach. Beautiful, beautiful sound. I think it's my mother. I always think they say cardinals are visitation from ones that have passed. So I like to think of that cardinal as my mom telling me to get with it and then relax. Yeah, I'm sitting again. And pause. Nicely done, everybody. So now from here, we're going to be transitioning to hands and knees, and then we're going to come back to seated and then kneeling. So again, if you have any knee sensitivities, I forgot to mention in the beginning, you might want to have a pillow or a cushion or rolling up another yoga mat to make sure that you have some nice support for yourself. So from here, we're going to transition ourselves to hands and knees. Finding that nice alignment in table. So the hands are underneath the shoulders. The elbows, wrists, and shoulders are all lined up. Again, anytime forearms are perfect, or perhaps you come up on the fingertips if you have sensitivities with your hands. Some people like to roll up the top of the mat so you have some more cushioning here. So from our table, we're going to be gazing to the top of the mat to keep that head in alignment with the spine, and the knees are right underneath the hips if you can find that to be that alignment to be comfortable. So cat-cow. On the inhale, lift the tailbone, gaze forward. Expand into the breath, and then on the exhale, tuck the tailbone round the spine, press the floor away, tuck the chin in. Nicely done. And we're going to go back and forth a few times here. Think of the cat-cow as originating from the tailbone. So that base of the spine moves first, in the cat as well as the cow. And this is one of my favorite movements to warm up the body. The spine is just a great way to do that. And it's a versatile movement as well because you can be on hands and knees or standing or seated. So again, just find your cat-cow. And then come to stillness. Place the forearms down on the mat. The hips are up in the air. Just rock a bit side to side. Cracking and popping is very normal in the body as long as it's no pain associated with it. That's just a very common thing that our bodies do, especially as we get older, I'm just saying. But the idea is if there's pain there, then that's not what you want. You never want sharp pain. And then coming back to table, again, taking care of the wrists and hands. Kick the left leg back behind you, ball the foot down, press through the heel without pinching into the knee. That's another safety cue. You don't want to overstretch and pinch. That means you don't want to lock the joint. And then we're going to do a little bit of core work here, a little kind of firing up the core. So lifting that right leg up, gently pull the toes back toward the shin. Test your balance by lifting that left hand up. Maybe you'd like to keep the left hand down. Maybe you'd like to bring it off a little, or maybe reach forward, thumb up, reaching from fingertips right through the body to the heel, cross body. Breathe. Cleansing breaths are always welcome. Those are audible sighs. And then bring the hand and knee back down. Maybe come to forearms again. Move around. See how everything feels. Another thing you can do if you have yoga blocks is you can place those down and either place your hands on top of them or the forearms as well. So that's another way to take care of your wrists and hands. And then we're going to come back to our table again. This time the left leg is going to go back behind us again. Be mindful of that pinching behind the knees. Pressing there, pressing the heel down toward the earth. Feel that nice stretch of the lower leg, maybe upper leg. We all feel things differently. And then lifting that leg up hip height, gently squeezing into the glute. Pulling the toes on the left foot back toward the shin will activate the leg, just like you're standing up. And then test the balance. Maybe that right hand comes off. Maybe we're wiggling and wobbling a bit. That's okay. Maybe we can reach that right arm out. Thumb up can open up the shoulder a bit more, but again, you do what is best for you. Notice if one side is different. With balance, with strength. Good. And then coming back to hands and knees, we're going to offer puppy and or child pose. Puppy is where you walk those hands out, drop the forehead and the upper body toward the earth, and your hips are up, off, over your heels. This is much less of an intensity on the knees. So if you're working with any knee sensitivities, this might be perfect to do. If you'd like child pose, you can sink back those hips over those heels. Perhaps they even sit on them. It all depends. And the arms, you can keep them out straight. Maybe you'd like to place one underneath the other and place your forehead down. Maybe you'd like the arms down by your side, palms up or down. Again, find what works for you. And breathe. This is a perfect posture here, stay down, to breathe into the back part of the body. So we work, the lungs expand in all different directions. So being in a posture like this can be wonderful to send the breath into the back part of the body and really expand into those lungs. Nice. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to slowly come back up and we are going to sit again, just the way we started. And before we move into the next set of asanas, I want to first mention that it will be camel to gate to shooting star, or what we call half circle. Now, these are all kneeling options or postures, but you can do them seated. You do not have to kneel if you have knee sensitivities, especially because we're going to be on one knee for some of these, and that can be really a challenge. So you can absolutely do what we're doing, kneeling, from a seated position, okay? And also in a chair. Chair yoga coming later this week, okay? So you can stay seated and extend your right leg out to start if you'd like. Or if you're going to come to kneeling, I'm going to invite you to come to kneeling now. We're going to be upright. Good. Lengthen through that spine. Gauge the bandhas, belly button, gauging to spine, just activating here, and pelvic floor muscles up and in. The tops of the feet are on the mat behind you, or you can curl your toes under here for camel. This is a back bend. Now, a lot of us are working with back sensitivity, so a back bend does not have to be a bend at all. As long as you extend the spine and lengthen through the crown of the head, that may be a perfect place for you to be, okay? So I'm going to turn sideways because I think you might be able to see this a little bit better from your end, but you're going to stay where you are. So from here, for camel, again, this can be done seated, take the hands behind your low back to support. Drawing the elbows back. Think of your thigh muscles here, your quad muscles against an imaginary wall, because we don't want to lean back in camel. We want the movement to come from the spine. So take a breath in, gently begin to press the hips forward, begin to gaze upward, perhaps opening up, drawing those shoulder blades together, drawing the elbows together. Feel that extension in the spine and the openness in the front body. Nice. And then we're going to take a breath in. On the exhale, come all the way back up. Like me, you might only move a little bit. You're going to, again, stay right where you are. I should stay this way. I'm sorry. Talking to myself. Sorry. Now, some of you, again, might go back further. Now, the second time we do this, another option is to come into more of a back bend by reaching the hands and touching into the heels or down the legs. That is not accessible to me with my back injuries, so I'm not able to demonstrate that. So if you're not sure what I'm doing, you can absolutely, or what I'm offering now, you can absolutely repeat this again, okay? But if you want to try the other option, you can curl the toes under. Again, you're perfectly fine staying right here where I'm going to stay. Or you can release the hands, reach down. As you come into your back bend, you're reaching back more. So think of my hands connected to my heels as I lengthen up here. So again, find what works for you. Breathe. Open up the heart. Make sure you can breathe and swallow with no restrictions. Then if your hands are on your ankles, I'm going to ask you to place them on your lower legs or on your hips. And then take a breath in. Slowly begin to come back up. Nice and straight. Again, I'm going to face you now. Pause here. Find that extension of the spine. Nice job. Now, the second part of this asana is called gate pose. One of my favorite postures, again, can be done seated. So, in gate, we're going to take the right leg out to the right. The heel is down and the toe is lifted. Good. Your right hand is going to just come very lightly along this leg. You don't want to press into it. You don't want to lock the knee. Okay? Lengthen up that left arm. Take a breath in and just find this beautiful gate pose. Opening up again. Maybe you bend the knee a bit. Maybe that feels better to you. Again, I know there's a lot of pressure and a lot of intensity on that left knee that's down onto the mat. So take care of yourself. Now you can stay here, or you can come up. You can take your left hand to the mat next to you. Bring your right leg back. Reach up. Reach that arm up overhead. Maybe if you'd like to work on balance, you could lift that leg up. Breathe. Breathe. Nice. And then come all the way back, hands and knees. Now, some of us might be comfortable in taking a little bit of a break coming down here onto the mat. Some of us would prefer to sit for a moment. Again, you never want to do anything to compromise yourself, your body. Make sure you're comfortable. Now we're going to go through this asana on the other side, and then we'll come into some other choices here. So breathe, notice how you're feeling, check in. Nicely done. And then we're going to come back up again, unless you choose to stay seated for the gate and the shooting star, or what we call half circle on the other side. So from here, taking your left leg out this time, heel is down, toe is lifted. Again, you're square to the front of the body as much as you can. That left hand, again, very lightly down the leg here. You do not want to, you don't want to bend into it. Bend into the knee, I should say. Raise up your right arm. Hopefully I'm getting these rights and left correct. And then you're going to just open up here. Breathe. It's one of my favorite postures. This can be done in a chair too. If you do chair yoga with me, you'll see that's one of my favorite ones to teach. And then coming up, now optional, again, you can stay right here, or you can come down, bringing that arm down, lining up the wrist right over the shoulder. Maybe this left leg stays on the earth. Maybe that left arm floats up, or maybe you want to work on the balance a bit. You can also reach that left arm forward. You can draw that left leg back. Breathe. Check in, see how you're feeling. Nice. And then come all the way back, hands and knees. Now from here, we're going to transition to, and you can do this any way that you want, to child pose or puppy. So take a break in between, just take a rest for a moment. So we're going to be coming up to standing shortly. But again, take a break, breathe into that back part of the body, relaxing here. And then we're going to be transitioning slowly to standing. Now when we transition up, we're going to move through ragdoll, which is Uttanasana. And this is, again, a standing forward fold, but I'm going to offer and recommend that you have your hands connected to something, whether it's the mat, your legs, whatever. It's just really not a great thing for the spine to be hanging unsupported, okay, especially if you have any back sensitivities. So from here, however you would like to stand, just raise the hips up. The hands, again, are going to connect to something. You can bend your knees a lot in the beginning if that feels good. So hands on the mat, hands maybe on the shins, maybe on the thighs. If you don't want to have the head below the heart, you can always come up to half lift. So the hands are above the knees and you're gazing forward, almost just like what we did in cat-cow earlier. Because some people with glaucoma, detached retina, that hanging down may not be the best thing for you, okay? So from wherever you are, your hands are connected to something. We're going to take a breath in, and then on the exhale, slowly come up to half lift. So we're going to be coming here. We're going to be gazing forward, tailbone back. And then when you're ready, press up all the way to standing. Roll the shoulders up and back and around. Nice. And we're going to find our Tadasana mountain pose now. So feel the feet connect to the earth. Some people like to touch their big toes together. Feel the connectivity, grounding. Earth again, nature's very healing. You might be able to see some of my beautiful woods behind me here where I am so fortunate and grateful to live in this beautiful spot that I have. And so again, as you ground down, lengthen through the crown, invite the shoulders to melt down, bring the palms to the side of the body, palms facing forward, receiving mountain. And also focus not only on the front of your body, but the back. So it's all connected, right? So we want to draw those shoulder blades to back body, making sure we're not locking into the knees again. Breathe. Good. And then from here, bring hands home to heart in Anjali Mudra, just like we did when we started practice this morning. Extending both arms up into Victory Mountain, open up, maybe gaze upward if your neck feels comfortable. If not, look forward. And then take the right arm to the right side body, left arm lengthens up. Again, cactus is always a perfect choice, or drawing in that shoulder closer. And then find crescent moon. So find your drishti. Maybe that top shoulder pulls back a bit. Again, open up the body, breathe. Transition up, we're going to go right to the other side. Make this a gentle flow here. Pause, breathe, just through that whole side body. Again, we're supported, we're connected here. We're just going to go back and forth a few times. So make this a nice flow. But again, I would recommend before you come into the side bend, you have support of your body. Any kind of unsupported flexion, that would be forward bending, lateral flexion, side bending, that's unsupported, can be not a great thing again for the spine over time, especially if you're dealing with any injuries. And if any of you have any specific questions about what I'm doing, or you want more of other options or whatever, please feel free to email me, message me. Again, I'm here for you. I'm here for you throughout this whole adventure. That's what I'd like to think about it, as an adventure. And then roll the shoulders up and back and around. And pause. So now we're going to be moving through 3 different sun salutations. The first one, I'm going to start with just a half sun, and then we'll come into sun salutation A with lots of choices. And then we'll do another one or two, depending on the time. I have my big clock right there, so I'm not going to go over an hour. I want to be respectful of your time. So again, with this, now if coming up and down from the mat is challenging for you, and it's just not something you want to do today, that's perfectly fine. You can go back down to the mat as we're moving through the sun salutations once we get down there, and you can move to your cat-cow again. Again, please do what works for you. So hopefully I can stay in the camera line, legs, and see which was better for lighting. Either way is challenging. All right, so we're going to go here. Luckily, I'm short, so you can still see me. That's an advantage. Okay, so finding from our mountain pose, connection of the palms together. Half sun first. Inhale. Big sun breath. Exhale. Now, this is the hip hinge. Hip hinge is the flat back. See, flat back here. Then, hands on the legs. Then, relaxing or rounding. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And then for the first one, we're going to keep the hands on those legs. Take it a breath, slowly exhale, roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Head comes up last. Again, come back to your mountain pose. Hands home to heart in Anjali Mudra. So now we're going to come through sun salutation A with lots of different options for the first one. Inhale, sun breath. Exhale, swan dive. This is our hip hinge. Hands on the legs as we now forward fold. Bend into the knees a lot if you'd like. Inhale, half lift. Now exhale, fold, bend into the knees, place your hands onto the mat, and come back to knee down plank. Tops of the feet are on the mat. We're going to take a breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to slowly come down to the mat so you're on your belly. Good. Stay right where you are for a moment, looking down. Keep focused. There you go. That's better. Okay. Now, hands are underneath the shoulders. I like to do this first because, again, about 80% of us have back issues. So, hands are underneath the shoulders. Legs are straight and strong. Tops of the feet are on the mat, engaging the pelvic triangle. So the hip bones and pubic bones stay connected to the mat as you're drawing that belly button in toward the spine to protect the back. So I like to call this one mini cobra. So in the next inhale, you're just going to begin to lift your head and your shoulders off the mat. Exhale, fold, go all the way back down. Come back to hands and knees. Now again, this is where you can stay here for a cat-cow if this is better for you, or you can curl your toes under, float up to downward facing dog. Bend into the knees a lot, press one heel at a time down, maybe walk the dog a bit. Let the head relax, but you're drawing the shoulder blades together, you're activating that back body. And then from here, when it comes to stillness, look up to the hands and step or walk the feet. You can jump later if you're a jumper. Allow the body to drape over. Remember, support, support. Half lift on that inhale. Nice. Exhale, fold. Now this time, remember how you rolled up and those hands came all the way up the legs. This time, if you want to engage the core more, you're going to come into a reverse swan dive. So press through the feet as we come up, arms come all the way around the body, up. I know you can't see my head here, but that's okay. And then exhale, fold, pause right here. Nice. The production side of this yoga videos are challenging, but I'm learning each time. Trying to do my best here. Okay, so now we're going to come through 2 more rounds of sun salutations. Starting in Tadasana, inhale. Sun breath. Exhale. Hip hinge. Hands onto the legs. Fold. Uttanasana. Inhale. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Hands come down to the mat. This time, knee down plank. It's a perfect choice, or full plank. You're in full plank, you're like a steel beam. You don't want your hips up. You don't want to sag. That's the worst thing. Here, you want to be nice and solid. Now, from here, we're going to be bending the elbows. Again, knees down is perfect choice. And we're going to slowly come down to the mat to Chaturanga Dandasana. All the way down, control, control, control. Tops of the feet are on the mat. Hands come underneath those shoulders. Now here you can come into mini cobra again, or if your back is healthy and happy, you can press up into upward dog. Good. From here, you can move to table and then down dog, or you can curl those toes under and come right up to downward facing dog. Breathe. Looking up to the hand, this is where you can jump, hop, step, up, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse swan dive, arms all the way around, up, back to Samasthetihi. Nice. One more time. I will talk you through it, but find your own pace for your sun salutation. Inhale. Exhale, swan dive. Hands to the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Hands plant to the mat, stepping back to knee down plank or plank. Breathe here, gauge those bandhas, nice and strong. Chaturanga Dandasana, taking a breath on that exhale, bend those elbows. Slowly come down to the mat. Tops of the feet flip onto the mat, and here you have mini cobra or up dog. Lifting. Some people might like to lift their knees off the mat here. Either through table or right to downward facing dog. Find where you'd like to be. And breathe. Let that breath flow. Nice job. Looking up to the hands, step, walk, jump those feet up. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Press the feet into the mat, reverse that swan dive, come all the way around. Up, this can also be a little mini back bend here, and then bring the hands home to the heart. Pause. Nicely done. And relax, relax, shake everything out for a moment. Relax everything. You're doing great. Now, for this morning's balancing posture, and again, you can always feel free to use a wall, have a chair next to you, whatever is best for you. And some people like to be on the mat, some people like to be on the floor, okay? So from here, we're going to be coming into tree pose. I'm going to adjust this again, sorry about that. There we go. Here I am. Okay, so we find our Tadasana once again. Again, rooting to rise. We're going to root the right foot into the mat. And we're going to bring the left, you're going to bend that left knee so that heel is off of the floor. You can have your hands on your hips to start if you'd like. And then if that's comfortable for your hip, you're going to rotate out from the hip, turning out that left knee. And maybe, again, this right leg is straight and strong but not locked. Now here you can decide, do you want to keep the ball of the foot down? Do you want to bring the sole of the foot below the knee, or do you want to bring it up above the knee? The main thing here is you don't want to be on the knee joint, okay? So you're either going to be above or below. Find your balance. It may be a windy day in the tree today, so see how you feel. Maybe hands come home to heart. And maybe you reach up. Again, find where you want to be. Whatever works. And if you come out of your tree, it's all good. You just come back into it. Just like anything, right? We don't want to fight with it. We just want to allow the body to find the gentle alignment. Good. And then release. Relax, relax. Shake it out. Shake it out. And let go of any expectations, or just do whatever comes is perfect, okay? And one side's different. I always say that because it's true. Whether you have an injury, chronic illness, whatever, one side is going to be different from the other. So now we're going to try tree on the other side. So we're going to root into the left side now. Bring up, bend that right knee, rotate out from the hip. Maybe that ball of the foot stays down. Maybe you'd like to bring the sole of the foot to the side of the leg, below the knee. Or maybe you'd like to bring the sole of the foot to the upper leg, thigh. Again, pressing the thigh or the leg, however you do this, and the sole of the feet equal pressure. Okay? Good. Now you're going to find your branches now. Where do your branches want to be on this side? And notice the difference. Notice the difference between one side and the other. Being gentle and kind with yourself, but just using this to inform you, to inform your practice. Nicely done, my trees. And then bring hands home to heart. And then release. Shake it out. Perfect. Nicely done. Very good. Very good. So now we're going to be coming down to the mat again, working a little bit with the back body before we finish up on our back with our straps, okay? So we're gonna take our sun salutation again down to the mat, okay? So coming to the top of the mat, palms together, inhale, sun breath around, moving up again, coming to that hip hinge, swan dive, hands to the legs as we come into Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, place the hands onto the mat, come back again to your plank or knee down plank. And then you're going to come all the way down to your belly. Nice. And once you're there, just pause for a moment. Maybe you would like to bend your knees and rock a bit side to side. Just feel the earth beneath you. Feel the support. Maybe you turn your head one way. Maybe you'd like to rock a bit. Good. And then placing the legs straight onto the mat, tops of the feet pressed into the mat. Gazing again down. We're going to reach the arms out on either side of the ears. Remember, you can always bend your elbows if this feels good. This is Superman, Superwoman. You're all Superwomen, Supermen for sure. So remember that pelvic triangle, connecting the two hip bones and the pubic bone to the mat. That's really important as you draw that belly button in. That protects the back. It activates a deep muscle in the abdominal area. So now we're going to start with opposite arm, opposite leg. So we're going to take a breath in. On the exhale, we're going to reach the right arm out and the left leg. We did this on hands and knees earlier in quadruped. Reaching out. Again, cross body lengthening here. And then bring that side down. We're going to go to the other side now. Take a breath in when you're ready. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Breathe. Good. And bring this down. We're going to do this 2 more times on each side. So again, what you're thinking about is not so much as how high can I lift. It's more about the length. The length through the body. With your foot, you can press through the toe or press through the heel. And just go to the other side. Think of, as you're doing this and staying right where you are, you're going to think about exhaling on the lift. You can also inhale on the lift if that feels better to you. But either way, you're engaging these muscles here in the core, which is really, really important. So once you're complete here and you have your 3 sets or 4 sets done, again, you always want to get an even number on both sides. You're just going to come back to rest, where the head can go any direction. Bend the knees, rock a bit again if that feels good. Nice. And then you're going to bring those legs down again. Looking down to the mat. One more back extension. We did a lot of back work today with the camel, and also we're going to be doing some nice stretching for the back momentarily. But for now, the last one, we're going to take the arms down by the sides, palms down. This is locust A. So you're looking down again. That pelvic triangle is connected. You know what I'm talking about here. Take a breath in. On the exhale, the hands stay on the mat. You gently begin to lift the head and shoulders off. Maybe you add your legs. One leg, maybe the other leg comes to meet it. If that does not feel good to your low back, keep the legs down or you can alternate them. Sometimes both legs up can be a little too much intensity. So again, you can alternate or you can keep them down altogether. It's all good. And then when you're complete, again, even number on both sides if you're alternating. Relax everything down again. Maybe turn your head the opposite way that you've been turning it, just for variety. Bend those knees maybe. Circle. You might want to circle the ankles a bit here. We didn't do a lot with the feet today. So much to do, so little time. I'm trying to keep each of my practices to an hour, so you'll know kind of what to expect. Good. And then from here, we're going to lengthen those legs again. We're going to come up to table just briefly. We're going to let the spine come into that nice extension for a moment. And then we're going to sit back into either child pose or puppy. So your choice. Find where you want to be. Maybe you want to move around a bit. Find where you want your hands to be. Again, move intuitively. Use your intuition. You know what you need. Nice. And then slowly coming up. Now we're going to be transitioning for a few moments onto our back. So I would invite you, if you have a strap or a belt or a towel, you can have that with you. If you have a block, you can have that with you as well. So we're going to transition slowly. Now remember, when you get down onto the mat, you just don't want to plop, okay? Plopping is not that good for us. We need to be controlled, right? So I like to bend my knees and place my hands on my legs and slowly come down one vertebrae at a time until I get here, okay? But again, it's really more about the idea of just control. And then from here, once you're on the mat, feel the base of the spine connect. Just feel the whole body, the back body connected to the earth. And maybe just do what feels naturally. Maybe you rock side to side with the knees up. Maybe you widen the knees out. Maybe you'd like to circle those legs around. Again, whatever way you're moving, just try to think about the other way as well. Cardinal's still out there singing his song. I just love Cardinal. It's my second favorite to Hawks. And then bring the feet now to the earth with the knees bent. I'm going to give you a couple different choices here for bridge. If you like, you can take your block in between the knees. You don't want them on the knees though. You want it to be above the knees, okay? If you're using the block. What that does is it activates your inner thigh muscles, which is affecting the body differently. It gives a little bit more support to the core for some of us. So again, you play with it and see how you feel, okay? So for the setup, you want to make sure your feet are connected to the mat. Your back body is supported nice and safely on the mat, and you want to look straight up. You don't want to be tucking up the chin here in bridge. You want to gaze up so the back of the head is on the mat so that you're not putting undue strain on the neck. Arms are going to be down by the side to start. Palms are down. Feet can be further away or closer to the body. Again, your choice. So we're going to take a breath in. On the exhale, we're going to slowly begin to lift one vertebrae at a time. As you're coming up, you don't want an excessive arch in your low back. Again, if you want to try the block, if you have one, you can place it in between those, above those knees, I should say. See what that does. Again, be curious about your own body, your own body's reaction in yoga. You find what works for you. Now, once you're up in bridge here, make sure you're breathing. Again, if you're activating your glutes more, that's going to help. That's going to work. How should I say this? If you want to work your core more, release the glutes a bit, and you're going to notice you're going to have to maintain more of a core support. But if you have back issues or you just like the fact that your glutes are engaged a bit more, do what's best for you. Reaching the fingertips down towards the heels, you can stay here. Or you can bend the elbows. Place the elbows on the mat and reach the fingertips up toward the earth. Some people like to tuck their shoulders under. So you clasp your hands underneath you, roll under the right shoulder, the left shoulder, lift those hips up, breathe. Bridge pose. Nice. And then unclasp the hands, slowly come down, one vertebrae at a time. Allow the spine to come to that extension before we do the counter posture of knees to chest. Just allow those muscles a moment to just come into their natural or neutral state. And then you have a couple options here. Some people like to straighten out their legs and reach their arms up. If that's too much on your back, bend your knees and do it. Again, the more we bend our knees, the more that low back imprints or presses into the mat, which is safer for some of us. It feels better for some of us. So again, you're going to find what works for you. This is a nice extension here, and then bringing the arms down by the sides, bend the knees. And then if you'd like any final, I know time's ticking here, so I'm not going to use the strap today, I don't think, because I want to offer Shavasana. So here, again, do what is comfortable for you. Rolling one side to the other, maybe circling those knees. Breathe. Ask yourself if there's any final posture you would like before final relaxation. Maybe you'd like to come into a twist. We didn't do a lot of twists or any twist, I don't think, today, did I? No. So again, every time we'll come and I'll do more videos each week. Again, they'll be posted, so you can just pick and choose. So any final posture that you might like, or you can decide to come into Shavasana. And again, I always like to offer Shavasana in any position that feels good to you. That's your final relaxation. Not everybody is comfortable lying on their back. So if it's better for you to roll on a side, or to be on your belly, or to sit up on a cushion, or to come into child pose, please feel free to find your Shavasana now. For the next 3 minutes or so, 3 or 4 minutes, and then I will ring the chimes to bring us back to complete our practice. So take this time for yourself, take rest. Allow the gentle vibration of the chimes to reawaken you slowly. And if you choose to stay in Shavasana, that's perfectly fine as well. But if you'd like to come up, gently begin to open and stretch through fingers and hands, lengthening through the body, moving in whatever way is perfect for you. Perhaps rolling to one side. And just find that comfortable seat. And once again, always take your time in transition. And we'll meet back in easy pose again, Sukhasana, rooting to rise. To close our practice this morning, I would like to read from Root to Bloom these words called Yoga's Reach. It is a wonder how a simple stretch deepens breath and an elegantly held pose grows to touch the whole of me. Like sugar stirred into tea, the potency of yoga spreads from body into mind and heart, revealing an ocean of energy that heals and opens, holds me close, and sets me free, all in the same moment. So in closing our yoga practice today, my dear beloved yoga students, our yoga community, online community, I invite you to bring hands home to heart once again in Anjali Mudra. And we'll complete our practice with one deep yoga breath together. Inhale. Exhale. And know that it's truly my honor and pleasure to share yoga with you. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.